Hello, this is Matt O'Leary, and this is a review of the Scottish band Chvrches' new third record called Love Is Dead. Jeez, that is... whew. If you don't know Chvrches, first off, where have you been? This is really the quintessential modern synth-pop band, and they really ride that line between radio pop and the more alternative world. But let's be honest, the music here, especially on this album Love Is Dead, it's pure, glistening, virginal pop. I think what makes this band fit and sort of edge into that alternative world and makes them not on par with Katy Perry or Taylor Swift is really twofold. First off, the lyrics are often much more thoughtful and intricate than your typical 3.5-minute banger. And the other thing is that this image, this brand, this aesthetic isn't self-aggrandizing. Like, you've got actual album art instead of just a seductive portrait, and you've got a band of contributors instead of this cult of personality. With their debut album, Bones of What You Believe, they really amassed quite the following with some big hit singles like We Sink or The Mother We Share, but also with this just very singular identity and just a crystal clear vision for what their band was going to be. While their second one, Every Open Eye, got even more glitzy and glamorous with some more dance and beat-centric tunes. To me, this band's sound has always been a little bit too robotic, a little bit too straight and too narrow, and at times you could kind of say vacuous. And as sticky and delicious as some of these melodies can be, songs like Keep You On My Side or Bow Down just really exemplify this sterility that I'm talking about, with a real lack of dynamic range across the entire song and some of the most hygienic vocal performances. Love Is Dead definitely comes closer to that first album than it does Every Open Eye, but I still feel like I'm being serenaded by a group of surgeons and nurses with some white gloves and maybe some face masks, just hand sanitizer everywhere. Opening track Graffiti has this very triumphant synth lead that breaks into a typically minimal and repetitive vocal melody and kind of a straight-laced beat. There's even that usual 1 to 4 chord progression. Never Say Die is very similar, if not a little more pensive and sober. It's very predictable chord movement and some of those classic Chvrches start and stop melodies. Never, 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 ever, never, never, ever. You know, it's pretty easy to intellectualize these songs in a way that critics probably should do, but these are two of my favorites on the album. They're just undeniable head boppers. But unfortunately, on a lot of Chvrches' music, I feel like there has to be some super, super catchy tune for me to stay interested. And when the songs are dull in that respect, I feel like the reverby snares and siren-like synths just don't really do it for me. I do like the range of synth tones on Never Say Die, like the opening with its very clean, it kind of sounds like the Super Mario 64 level with the eel, to the more urban arcade pre-chorus that slowly grows into this squelchy fizzle to build tension. But otherwise, the clapping and the overpowered bass and muffled vocal echoes on songs like Miracle or Get Out just feel a little bit too derivative to even really comment on. A lot of these songs just sink into this black hole of just garden variety electropop production. And much of that can probably be credited to them not self-producing this one and instead going to Greg Kurstin for many of the tracks. Kurstin's a big name, like a huge producer that's done a lot of these very vanilla mainstream projects like Adele or like Sia. That little just instrumental transition towards the end of the album, I think it's called 2, it just feels like a desperate plea for artistic credibility. While the closer Wonderland really smacks of Roxette's Listen to Your Heart, My Enemy is one that has a great hook and this interesting counterpoint and counterbalance between Lauren Mayberry and Matt Berringer. The narrative seems to be getting at this necessity for the balance of justice and mercy within a relationship. And, you know, if you're going to be critical of someone, if you're going to act as someone's judge, then it can't be empty. It's got to have some love behind it to really count. But it's just such a lifeless and monotonous delivery between the two of them that I feel like they just squander this opportunity for a really potent moment. It definitely reminds me of the XX with the male and female back and forth, and also with just how drab and just how clean it comes across. Like there's no gutsiness there at all. The song Forever is similarly puzzling with this very aha beat and just a lack of progression from the front to the back of the song. Listen to something pretty eerie between this song and My Enemy. Those two songs back to back. It's pretty weird. About the 40-second mark, you'll hear Lauren sing And You in both songs. And it's the exact same key, and it's the exact same notes. It's your jealousy is more blind than love. And you could be my enemy to forgive me. And you will never. Forever employs the same vague platitudes that this whole album relies on. Like, I really don't know what she's getting at. It seems like a laundry list of these petty and dramatic relationship complaints presented with excessive repetition to really drive the snarkiness home. While the song Heaven/Hell continues these wishy-washy pop cliches, the raising glasses, the dancing on the ashes. If none of this is real, then show me what you feel, because I can't tell. I know that Lauren Mayberry has a strong leftist political persuasion, and she definitely has a strong and influential voice within that realm. But she doesn't explicitly malign any political actor or institution on Love is Dead, and some people might be disappointed by that or see it as a missed opportunity. Me personally, I am pretty relieved and pretty glad she didn't go in that direction, but what she chooses to replace it with doesn't have a whole lot of substance. And couple that with a stifling uniformity of a lot of the instrumentals, and you get a pretty disappointing album. Not to mention some cover art that kind of looks like Walmart's next line of back-to-school graphic tees. This one's a 4 out of 10 for me, and I definitely did not love this album. I really wish they would have used the pop anthems from the beginning of the band sort of as a bait, and then led the listener into something stranger and more experimental. But as it is, meh. Alright, you gotta prove me wrong on this one. Tell me what it is you love about this album and what it is you don't like so much. And as always, thank you so much for watching.